This is week 11 file sharing, cin2003. To assign permission means the four things. Share permissions, يعني control access to folder over a network. Who can share this folder? Who can access this folder? NTFS permission, control access to the file and folders stored on disk volume. It should be formatted with NTFS, by the way. And we have registry permissions, control access to a specific part of Windows registry. Windows registry, يعني the configuration of Windows. Okay. NTFS is the format of the hard drive, the volume. Okay. Windows Server will not work for the previous format other than NTFS. Okay. Active Directory permission also control access to a specific part of an Active Directory domain services. Windows permission architecture, you have ACL, and then you have ACL or cin2003, and you have security principle. Okay. Security اللي هو first of all ACL اللي هو هي this is the whole thing. Okay. Sales read اللي هو entry. Sales اللي هي access control entry. الريد اللي هي type of permission. Okay. John Smith is the security principal اللي هو عليه الاكشن. Okay. يبقى these are all entries. Windows permission, of course we have done this last time in the lab. You go to security and you can control the permissions. We have basic and advanced permissions. What does permission do? Permissions allow you to grant specific degree of access to security principle. Okay. Pre-configured permissions combinations, they are called basic permissions. Then we have advanced permissions. They are more granular and can be applied individually. That's why they are called advanced. But they are rarely used. Don't forget that we have inheritance in permissions. So permissions run downward through a hierarchy. Okay, so if I have permission on XFAIR and Alice is part of XFAIR, then it will inherit. Okay, it will inherit. Walaikum salam, we'll come back. Okay, so this is the meaning of inheritance. Yeah, it's a group. Okay. No, it's a folder. This is folder. Permissions, they are on folders. What can you do with the file, with the volume? When we talk about permissions, you are talking about the folders. When we talk about sharing, okay, we can talk about the group. Salam. To set shared permissions, the shared permissions tab for a shared folder, and then you can choose. Remember in the lab, we removed everyone, صح? We added authenticated users. And then you can control what they can do, full control, will only change or only read. Share permissions, this is the explanation for each one. Of course, the most powerful one is full control. The least is read. This is where you share, you set the shared permissions in the server manager. for your document. Here we have the share. Okay. We have done this in the lab, so I will, you know how to add and remove. Okay. You can just start typing it and then check name. You don't have to, maybe you will not remember the exact spelling, or just start typing and then check name. It will select the user or computer for you or group. For the shares, no, but for the group policy, they will tell you where it is. But by the way, for the share, it's not as complicated. And in the lab, we have done everything. But for the exam, we will ask you, create a folder, give it a shared name, then share it with one group or another group like this. So we have, they are running on the screenshots here. Now we will go to the NTFS and REFS support permissions. Every file and folder on NTFS, this is the type of file on Windows system, has an ACL with AC entry, each of which contains a security principal and their permissions. Security principals are users and groups identified by Windows using SIDs. During authorization, when a user accesses a file or folder, the system compares the user's SIDs with the stored SIDs, okay, on the server. According to this, it will allow or disallow. All right? As simple as that. Give me an example of the ACL here. We just saw one example. Look here. Where is it? Yeah, this is an example for ACL. Okay. Okay. That's it. Now the basic NTFS permissions for full control. This means that on the folder, you can modify the folder, take ownership, delete subfolders and files, perform all actions associated with all other NTFS permissions. For file, you can modify the file, take ownership, perform all actions associated with all other NTFS permissions. For NTFS basic permissions, modify. These are the options. So full control will give you full control. Even you can take ownership. Modify, you cannot take ownership, okay? You have to know the difference, okay? Read and write, navigate, perform action. Can you delete with read and execute? You cannot. You can run, but you cannot delete. Okay. You can delete with modify. You can delete file and folder. So you have to know the differences, please. List folder. Of course, this folder, for a folder, you can see the names of the files in the folder and subfolders. We have read. You can see the files and subfolders, view the ownership permissions, For file, you can read the content of the file. And if it's a Word file, مثلا, like that, you know. For write, you can create a new file. Okay, but you cannot delete. Huh? Okay, assigning basic NTFS permissions. We have done this in the lab. For assigning advanced, they are rarely used. Rarely used. Okay, look at them here, like read attributes. And if you want to read attribute of the file, you know the attributes of the file? When you go to file properties and see the attributes. Okay. Sure. What is the meaning of ownership? We are talking about ownership. Every file and folder on an NTFS drive has an owner. The owner always has the ability to modify the permissions. Okay, he has full control. Yes, he has full control. The owner is the person who created the file or folder. Others with the take ownership permission can become the owner. Don't forget that, okay? So it's not always only the creator. If someone has the take ownership, which one? Do you remember? Which one has take ownership? Full control. Very good, Muhammad. So put your hands together, please, for Muhammad. Full control. Excellent. All right. Combining share and NTFS permissions. So here we have everyone applied to the shared permission on the shared folder. Then I am applying NTF permissions on the files inside that shared folder. Yani what we can do with the files, okay? This is a new topic, shadow copying. Allow you to maintain previous versions of files on a server. اللي هو shadow. Do you know the shadow copy? Shadow copy. Yani backup copies while you are working, it will keep a shadow copy in case something happens. It's a copy of a file can be accessed even if a file has been accidentally deleted or overwritten. Can we do it on entire volume or not, Rashid? Yes. Put your hands together, please, for MashaAllah. Okay. It can be done on entire. Don't forget this. Might come in the quiz. Okay. And it's very helpful, trust me. To configure shadow is very simple. You choose shadow copies and then you configure, enable it. Okay. Okay. Where you want to store it, also you need to assign it. And how much size. Right. What is NTFS quota? Each user, let's say I have a volume 2 giga and I have 100 users. I want to give a quota so that my employees, and not one employee is downloading maybe something from Netflix or and then he takes the whole volume. So I can assign quota for each one. Yes, you want to add something? MashaAllah. Put your hands together, please, again. MashaAllah عليك. نبدع اليوم. MashaAllah. Okay. صح. You will put a limit to how much they can use of the volume. Okay. Well, this is important. I remember when I was a long time ago, they used to generate for us report, especially before the hard disk size was, the hard disk was expensive. So they used to generate report every week. Okay. Now here, I think they don't use it. Do you have quota? Yeah. Do you have quota? No? Okay. Users exceeding the limit can be denied access or receive a warning. Space consumed by users is measured by the size of the files they own or create. Configure NTFS quotas. Okay, here is the where you configure. It's easy also. Okay, when you go to the user, you can also configure how much quota he has. All right, so this is it for this chapter. All right, any questions?